So hello and good afternoon. I'm Astra Jenkin and I'm heading off today with my colleague and project architect, Laura Courtney. The first slide is really talking about the project that sits at the heart of the Melbourne Park Precinct and is located within walking distance of the city and is surrounded by the amazing and iconic Melbourne parklands. We're fortunate as an organisation or as NH to have had a 10-year relationship with Melbourne Park. And as a result, we're all extremely familiar with the immersion of being immersed in the surrounding environment and really understanding the various landscapes and the big Australian sky that we're all very familiar with. Architecturally, the building negotiates 3 levels, which are really determined by a lot of the existing site conditions and tries to negotiate a new back of house, front of house relationship with the site as a total space. And there are really 2 main criteria or briefing requirements for this project. One being the broadcasting requirements, which are incredibly important because although the site is visited by about 1 million people every year, there's hundreds of millions of people who access the site through media, TV, and gambling and broadcasting. So those requirements are significant. And also the requirements for a gala function centre and pavilion. Here we've really taken the cue to connect the building and the interiors to the external aspects, the gardens and the surrounding parklands. So the views to the external plazas and public spaces are significant, as well as the sort of connectedness of the visual views across the spaces.
And the user groups in this project were epic. We had up to 50 people needing to approve a pattern or a material finish for anything in the building. This acoustic panel was taken from tech data from serve and return data that was based on tennis matches. So we used that pattern to create the acoustic panel within the pre-function space. And so too, the carpet was influenced by shape and shadow of the gum trees on site. And we used that to create stippling. And then because we were working at home at the time, we also ended up taking a lot of cues just from domestic items around the home and even our own jumper.
So we engaged with each other through cycling to each other's homes and worked quite a lot of the time on the driveways. The ground hall of the function centre, again, it was significant that it maintained its connection to the exterior, and unusual for functions, pavilions or centres, it had amazing views out to the city and obviously transformed itself to the many functions that exist within the centre. And here the cladding of the interior of the function pavilion really takes its cues from the arena or the topology of the arena, in particular the Kia arena, which was another part of our project, which sits adjacent to this project. The views to the city are illustrated here on the terrace. And again, the materiality of the terrace was an extension of the carpet colour. So that indoor-outdoor experience was very significant for the client. And again, is quite a unique offering in the function scene.
Here in the circulation spaces, the palette was kept very monolithic to sort of keep the circulation very clear and obvious, but also to reinforce the civic quality of the building. And then if we rise up to level 3, we move to the broadcast studios, which are fully flexible studios. And they afford these great views out across the public plaza to parklands. And they also have to deal with broadcasting, which is very complex and sometimes quite messy overlay, but then also be able to be transformed into slick commercial meeting rooms.
Adjacent to this is the larger auditorium that is, again, a media centre, as well as sort of a more executive function offering. But again, the views through to the rail yards and the MCG and up to, you know, what we see as the big Australian sky, you can see the references to both that and obviously the very sort of famous, well-known Australian open branding was part of the inspiration for these spaces. And this image really talks about this sort of front of camera, back of camera experience that we're all familiar with these days, where the players sit up the front or the performers are up the front, and then there's this media pack that really take up the space of the seating. Down on the ground level, the restaurant and cafe, which also functions as a fully flexible function pavilion, so it can be divided as well, was quite a compressed space, but we used the facade or the new facade to really try and expand at the perimeter and again frame these views of the city and the location in which it's placed.
And then we also took advantage of the volume within the cafe. And then again, looking at tennis data, this time three-dimensional Hawkeye data, we took that from an Ash Barty match and used it to generate the light with the custom lighting within the space.
And I guess one of the most enjoyable or fulfilling aspects of this is really the fact that the client at the end of the project felt like they had full ownership of everything that we had done, all the decisions that were made through the process that they were fully engaged with from start to finish, and you know, had numerous opinions and ideas about. Have really embraced it all, and you know, through their Instagram posts, I guess, have shown to us that they're pretty proud of the end result for them as an organisation and Melbourne as a city. And that's the last slide. So thank you.